What's up? I used to absolutely hate backpacking, and now I can't get enough of it. So what happened? Why did I hate backpacking? Well, let's go back. Let's go back to young Jeremy. I was in the Boy Scouts growing up, and I remember I was like 12 years old, went on my first backpacking trip. Had never gone before. I brought way too much gear. You know, I brought like 4 shirts, 4 pairs of underwear, 4 pairs of pants. I didn't know what I was doing. I weighed like 100 pounds. I was probably like 4'10". I was absolutely tiny. My pack weighed 30 pounds. I didn't have a great time. Didn't sleep well. Totally different from regular camping. Backpacking is a whole nother beast. So I didn't have a great time. So fast forward to when I'm 13 years old, so a year later, and I get the opportunity to go to Philmont, which is like the holy mecca of Boy Scout backpacking. It's over in New Mexico in the Rocky Mountains, and you do like a 70 or 80 mile trek. But I was still so small, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to go to Philmont. So I said yes, and a few months before, my Boy Scout troop did some training trips, and you know, they were hard. Again, I'm carrying 35, 40 pounds, and I'm weighing 110 pounds, so I'm just way undersized. And we had this metric. You're only supposed to carry 25% of your body weight, max. I was carrying like 40% or 35%. And I'm like a little 13-year-old. Yeah, I wasn't having a good time, you know? And that's not to the fault of the Boy Scouts. I think it's hard to carry that much weight when you're little. And in Boy Scouts, there is kind of a mentality of bring everything, be prepared, bring all your gear. So I had a rough time at Philmont in this New Mexico environment and just carrying too much weight. So I kind of stepped away from backpacking later into my scouting years, up until I was around like 17, when me and a few friends decided to go on our own backpacking trip. And that was actually really fun. You get to plan the trip yourself. You don't have to rely on anybody else. I was a little bit bigger. I was a lot bigger. I was like 6'4" at that time. So I had grown quite a bit. So I could carry the weight. And I learned that I didn't really need that much stuff. So that was a much better experience going when I was an older scout. Yeah, so I had a great time on that trip. There's something about being intentional and planning the trip yourself, going on the trip without your parents forcing you to do, like in Boy Scouts, kinda. I'm glad my parents got me into Scouts and all that, but when you're older, you kinda get to make those decisions on your own and be a part of that and make plans. You know, we could go however many miles we wanted to go on the trip. We could take as many breaks or as little breaks. We can go faster, slower, smell the roses, which was kind of harder to do when I was younger in the bigger troop setting. So that was an eye-opening experience. But then college came and I didn't really go backpacking for like 4 or 5 years. It wasn't until my senior spring semester of college when I was like, hey, I kind of want to try backpacking again. So, which way do I go? Let's go up. So, I wanted to try backpacking again. I hadn't used my gear in like 5 years. I had grown another few inches, but you know, I thought I could just wing it, you know? So I convinced some friends to go with me on this backpacking trip. And this is January, by the way, like mid-January. And the nighttime lows are well below freezing. And, you know, I convinced a few friends to come, and I had all the gear. And this gear is just like summer gear. It's for summertime. Summer sleeping bag, summer pad, very thin material and insulation. not meant for January. I didn't have a proper stove. I didn't have a proper tent. You know, I didn't really check my gear thoroughly. I didn't test it. It just had been years since I had used it, so I thought it would be okay. So we monitor the weather a week before the trip, and every day the forecast is getting colder and colder until it's like supposed to be in the 20s. But at that point, I'm like, let's just do it. So we go, we camp. It's me and my few friends, and also my girlfriend. So yeah, that was not good. So we were shivering in our tents by like 7 p.m. and it gets dark so fast. Miserable night of sleep. My sleeping pad deflated in the night, so my butt was just touching the ground on the cold, bare ground. So not great, not a good experience. I learned that proper planning, proper gear, time of year is important. You know, it was winter time. I should have gone in a warmer month. And you know, you can't just like wing it. You have to plan things. So that wasn't a great experience, but I was determined to get better and improve and iterate over my setup and my skills. And I wanted to try again. So a few weeks later, I tried backpacking again on a warmer weekend, just myself, and I was able to buy a longer sleeping bag. I'm like 6'6" at this time, so my 12-year-old sleeping bag didn't fit me. I think my head and my feet were getting crushed by the hood. I just couldn't fit in it, so I bought a longer sleeping bag. That helped. I bought a new sleeping pad that didn't deflate. So having good quality gear really helped. I bought a stove and a pot, so I got to have a warm meal. And it was a great experience. It was just myself this time. And a week later, I invite one of the friends back. We try it again. We have a great time. He has a great time. So every week I'm doing an overnight backpacking trip. And I'm getting better and better and better. And that's just kind of how it is in backpacking, or in life, I guess. It's just trying things over and over again. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna improve your gear, you're gonna improve your skills, improve your route finding, your trip planning, and it's gonna get better and easier. And within 2 months, I was a proficient backpacker, going on like 6 trips and 6 weekends. And that summer, I ended up doing a 80-mile backpacking trip with my dad. So that just goes to show, in 6 months, I went from doing no miles to 80 miles and doing it very comfortably. All right, so what were my takeaways from falling back in love with backpacking after not liking it? I think number 1 would be being intentional and owning the process. To like backpacking as an adult, you have to choose to like it. You're not gonna get forced by your parents anymore. You get to make the decisions. And so you need to own the trip planning. You need to own the logistics, how to get from point A to point B. All that is on you, which makes it exciting because you can tailor the experience to exactly what you like. You can do more or less miles. You can see waterfalls, you can see mountains. The possibilities are endless. So tailor the experience to what you like. And another part of that is when you take ownership, you take responsibility for your failures, and you can get better and better and better. And everything is on you. I mean, it's you versus Mother Nature, right? At that point, which is great. Like, as long as you can control Mother Nature. Well, you can't control Mother Nature, but you can prepare for Mother Nature. You can have a good time. Okay, number 2, make it attractive. If it's not tempting to do it, you're not gonna wanna do it, right? So don't go camping in the cold weather. Go when it's warmer, go when the weather's nice, and you'll have a better time. Make it fun, plan a fun itinerary, you know? Don't do too many miles. Do just a few miles, just try it out, you know, and you'll have a great time, you know? Don't always think about doing a lot of miles. and bring some warm, delicious food to warm you up at night. It's always a nice way to cap off the end of the day, is just have a warm meal. Oh, and of course, make sure your gear works. That's actually pretty important. You know, make sure the gear fits your body. For me, I'm tall, so I need a long sleeping bag and a long sleeping pad and a long jacket and a long everything. And so, yeah, make sure the gear works, make sure it's great, make sure it works for the season and conditions you're in. And yeah, good quality gear will make or break a trip, you know? And once gear is no longer working or useful, replace it or upgrade it. In my case, all my stuff was too short, or my sleeping pad was deflating, so I had to upgrade those. And once I did, that helped tremendously. So I hope these tips help. And yeah, just share a little bit of, shed a little bit of light on my experience with backpacking. I didn't like it back then, especially in my early years, because I was kind of forced to do it. I was kind of smaller. I didn't have any ownership of the trips. I didn't have any agency. I didn't have any plans. I just kind of got pulled along. And I think it's cool when you can plan them yourself, tailor them to your experience, and have a lot of fun with it. So hopefully that helps. Oh yeah, another bonus tip. Bonus tip number 4. Write down all the things you love about backpacking on one side of a piece of paper, and all of the things you don't like about backpacking on another side of that paper. And just think about, okay, what are some things I can do to get on the left side of the piece of paper more of that stuff, the things I like, and less things on the right. So if you don't like sleeping in the woods, maybe get a better pillow. If you hate eating cold meals, maybe get a stove. If you love seeing waterfalls, see more waterfalls, you know? Do more things you like about backpacking and do less things you do not like. All right, that's it.